What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. Today, we're going to be talking about some Nick Robertson trade rumors. Is it something that I really want to talk about? No, because we've been talking about it so much. But again, I kind of want to give my thoughts on his value and whether or not he makes sense for this team long term. So if you guys are new here, like, subscribe, join the squad. I'd love to have you guys here. Also, use code APH20 for 20% off and free shipping at Manscaped. That's APH20 for 20% off and free shipping. But I want to hear your thoughts as well on Nick Robertson. So let's get into this video. This is something that we've been talking about a few times on this channel, and that's Nick Robertson and whether or not the Leafs should move on from him and if they should trade him. And I've been a little bit back and forth on this, but again, this kind of ties into something that I've spoken about in other videos and even at the beginning of the podcast I did, and that's Sheldon Keefe has to find a spot for this guy. And if he's not going to find a spot for him, then the Maple Leafs might be forced to send him back down to the Marlies, which I think he's too good to be playing there now, or they're going to have to trade him. But I urge fans to look at former players and how they've performed when the Maple Leafs go, oh, we're just going to find you a new home. Sam Lafferty, look at how he's been playing for the Canucks. Marchment, we've got guys like Verhaeghe. Like all these guys were just like, oh, we'll find you a new home. You're not fitting, whatever. They're not giving them time to develop. The Maple Leafs are looking at a player and going, okay, you go now. We'll just bring in somebody else. You have to let them sit for a bit. You have to let them find their way. And people are going to say, oh, well, Robertson's been around forever. So let me just let you in on something, okay? Nick Robertson is 22 years old. The Maple Leafs have traded away players that have only started to find their prime in ages 24 to 26. And that's still young. Like, I'm 27. These guys are all much younger than me. And they're getting traded as if they're like, oh, these guys are not, good anymore. They're not going to prove anything. They're not going to be good talents in the NHL. But the Maple Leafs need good depth pieces. They need guys that can play on a cheaper contract. And Nick Robertson is under $800,000 right now. Yes, this is the last year of the entry-level deal. But the fact of the matter is that Nick Robertson, unless he gets significant playing time down the road, is not going to fetch more than like $1.5 million. Like, he's not playing every game. He's being scratched. He's being put in the press box. But I totally disagree. And, it's taken me a little while to like fully grasp what I think about the Robertson trade talk. But, you're hearing depth picks and like maybe a defenseman of his caliber. But why? Okay, maybe for a defenseman of his caliber, it makes sense. But if the Maple Leafs are struggling still to have depth scoring and they're not finding ways to win games, why are you trading away a 22-year-old that is less than $800,000? The Maple Leafs have to watch their cap situation for the next couple of years. If you can bury a guy like Ryan Reeves most of his money in the minors next year, and you can let Robertson play up in your lineup instead of a Ryan Reeves or instead of a David Kampf, if you find a way to trade him or something like that, you're going to be saving money. You're going to be allowing yourself to save money. And you can't just look at this year. You have to look at the years coming with, Matthews extension coming in, Nylander extension coming in, the eventual Marner one. We'll see what Tavares' number is going to be at. You need to find guys like Robertson and Niemela and Nyes and maybe potentially Voigt and Easton Cowan and Fraser Minton. Like this next group of cheaper, younger players that you're going to plug and play into this lineup and see where they're going to fit in that bottom six and even the top six, right? Because at one point, Nick Robertson was looked at as like a bona fide top six guy. Same thing with Matthew Nyes. So if you can find homes for them on the third line, your depth is going to be very good because I hope they keep Gregor. I think he's been doing all right. Max Domi, I think he's going to stick around. We'll see with Bertuzzi, but the Leafs need to find these cheaper players like Robertson and hold on to them, right? But if you can find a trade partner that maybe will give you a defenseman that's around the same age that can be, at least, a second pairing guy potentially, then you can do it. But like I've mentioned, we're going to look at these numbers, right? The Leafs are not giving him significant playing time. So even in 26 games this year, he's had 12 points. And for a guy who has been in and out of the lineup, I'm not mad at this. If he plays like 30 more games, right? Like, or if he plays, let's say 25 more games, he's probably going to get close to that 15 goal mark, if not past that, because he started to play really well. And then they took him out of the lineup, which again, I don't agree with the Marlies over a point per game. You've seen him do it point per game again. Like, this guy is a guy that almost scored 60 goals in the OHL. And then since then, he hasn't really had luck on his side with injuries and stuff. But the Leafs need to let this guy go for like 20, 25 games and then see what you have. You need to put him with talented players. I don't know for the life of me why they haven't tried him on the first line for 4 or 5 games. Robertson's not the most defensively sound guy, but he's fast. And if you're playing with Matthews and Marner, who both are defensively sound, who play 200-foot games, Robertson can afford to maybe have to backtrack and skate as fast as he can, and he's a physical guy. At least you'll have those two being able to hold on to whatever defensive coverage you need to do until you learn it from these big name players. They've been putting him in like checking lines. They've been putting him on the fourth line. You know, it's not working. So I'd like to see them give him 10 or 15 games playing with some of the bigger names. I mean, they've put Pontus Holmberg there, and it's worked well. I'm wondering if the Leafs could give Robertson that same shot and see if his confidence and his shot comes back, because you're not going to find a guy with a crazier shot. Like, this kid can rip a puck, and unfortunately, he's not necessarily getting a lot of those chances. Is that his fault? Yeah, because he needs to create space and find ways to get there. But I also blame the opportunities, and I think that with more time and with a chance to do more damage, I think that he could do a lot more. And again, I'm not going to sit here and act like he's just the playing time is the only reason. There's been some games where I've questioned like what he's doing, but this Leaf team has had so many games like that where it's almost like players are just taking nights off and they're not accomplishing anything, and it's hard to watch. And I think Nick Robertson is a really good talent. I don't think I know Nick Robertson's a good talent. And let's say the Leafs traded him to a team like Anaheim or Chicago or something like that, or a Columbus, and they go, look, we're going to give this guy top 6 minutes for like 20 games to see what he's got. He's going to put up numbers. I honestly believe that. The Leafs are going to give up too early on a kid that is going to do really well, and it's going to cost the Leafs. I don't want that to happen. I want to see them keep this guy around. And at first, I wasn't sure if they should move him. I was on the bandwagon of like, yeah, maybe they should. But at this point, I think they have to hold on to him, because it doesn't make a ton of sense to move on from a guy that could potentially give you good numbers. I like Nick Robertson. Again, some people will think I'm biased, but I think he's got the 20 goal like potential at least. I think he's with top 6 minutes, 20 to 25 goals, but that might be a bias. I don't know, but I want to know what you guys think. Like, put it in the comments. Do you think that if the Leafs traded him, it would be like he just flash of the pan, doesn't really turn out? Or do you think that it works out where when he gets that opportunity, he does really well? We'll have to see, but I want to know what you guys think on that situation. But Nick Robertson, I hope that he pans out. I hope the Leafs keep him. But if they potentially get a defenseman back for him, then we might see a move happen there. So that's just what I think on that situation. That's all I've got to say on the subject. Let me know what you guys think. If you're new, like, subscribe, join the squad. I'd love to have you guys here. And again, sound off in the comments. Is Robertson going to be on this team long term? Does it make sense? Will they trade him? What would they get back? Put mock trades, whatever you want to do. But yeah, APH20 for 20% off at Manscaped if you'd like. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Peace.